Welcome everybody. We're going to try this quick little game. I don't know how quick it's going to be, but it's called the Stanley Parable. I've been wanting to play it, so I thought why not do a quick stream on it and see if anybody likes it, and if so, I will stream it more. Let me put the rules in. Let's do enter the current time. It's currently I gotta go because it's not AM. Well, now it's 3:21. There we go. Alright. Okay. I've seen brief clips of this, and it seems kind of weird, but it also seems like very interesting. Like it clicked in my head, like I gotta see what's going on there. So that's the reason we're trying it. Alright, let's just go begin the game. The end is never the end, is never the end. Okay. Nightbot, it's taking a while to post the rules.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427
Can y'all
and
hear
pushed
me?
buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-making, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change
let me know in the
Stanley.
chat, please.
Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, I'm controlling. Okay, 427. Alright, can I do anything in here? Okay. Hello? Okay, this is weird. Where'd everybody go?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley, did you die or something?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Dang, that's bright. Stanley, they don't want you to see out. This ain't good, Stanley. I think you took a nap and the apocalypse happened. Better get you a weapon. There's a pen. Won't let me pick up. Won't let me go in any of the doors. Nice picture. Dang, they still won't let me see outside. What is going on? X doesn't do nothing. They're leading me to a trap, I think. I hate Mondays. Oh. You only end up going to crouch. I want to see what that cup says. Thought that was blood at first. But it's coffee. Some spilt paper is there. This is kind of eerie. Like everybody just vanished.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Why do you want me to enter on the left? Why not the right? You want me to go to the left so bad. What if I go to the right?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire.
Okay, dude, you're kind of sarcastic. Can't read that. Okay. Why do I feel like this is a big maze?
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Okay. Can I remove the curtains? No.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth.
I'm not looking at the paintings, dude. I'm looking at the drinks. The cold drinks. I'm thirsty.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Who you calling creepy? I don't even know who you are. You talking to me?
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Okay. They are being pushy right now. Okay, I will move on.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
The narrator's very pushy. He told me to take the first open door on my left. He's wanting me to go that way, so why don't I go forward?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
That's hilarious. This narrator has no chill. Who keeps closing the doors behind me? Oh.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Who's her? Who are you talking about?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who are you talking about? That's pure black. Y'all give me a flashlight. There's plenty of light in here. Why ain't it light in there? No, let me go back. Y'all wrong for that. Come on now. Something gonna jump out and scare me. Oh my goodness.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
What is going on? What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd
You
want to commit their
butthole.
life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Are you a serial killer?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press right to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
So I'm imagining
The
this?
thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Okay.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
So my dudes done went crazy. Stanley done went crazy in an office job.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
I'm back in my office. Press X to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You told me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, game. Are you going to make me do it?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
What the crap? This is a very weird game, y'all. This is a very weird game, y'all. Very weird.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's replaying again. Sorry.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it bottle. Y'all don't give me enough time to read this. What do people want? Things, happiness, money, more money, things. But with money to buy more things. Graphs. Graphs about things and money. What is hot? Profits, profits. Target demographic? Teenager. Colored in segment. The stock market somewhere in here. To do, synergize core value expenditures. Shift global market parade. Monetize free to play. And that's a little nod to all the game companies who make the game free to play, but then you could buy all the skins. Target. Push for funding for RD. New coffee machine. Standard graphs. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Not efficient. Standard graphs. Okay. Why is Chris in the broom closet? Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are to synergize. Fire paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergizing guy. Who moved my desk? Please keep the targets on the topic of, and it's blurred out. The future was yesterday, tomorrow's now. Tomorrow complete today's unfinished agenda, then write next day's agenda and reflect. Okay, yeah, something weird's going on here. Hey, there's the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Well, they said there was a guy in the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What if I want to go downstairs? Oh, maybe I don't want to go downstairs. Why is it so red down here?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
What?
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Was that me? Was that Stanley? So are all these little things I'm getting like endings because I didn't do what the game told me? I think it is. It's kind of like Groundhog Day.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I think this is like Groundhog Day.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's do what it says now.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
That was funny.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Dang. This ain't an office. This is a freaking
Stepping
house.
into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
This game is trippy. Y'all want me to go down here? Elevator? Yep. I'm not quite sure what the point of this game is, to be honest.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
If light is on, call extension 914 immediately. That can't be good. Okay, if I go this way, it's going to end, and I'm going to have to redo everything else. But part of me is interested to see what they do. Do I go to the mind control facility, or do I go through escape?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
What? I'm turning around?
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Wait, are you tricking me?
Still on board with death?
You ain't got nothing to say about that? I think you're tricking me.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Why don't you want me to go this way?
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh, crap. So I guess he wasn't lying. I guess my character expired. Wait.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Man, this game is trippy.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
So this is kind of cool. It's a look at how they made the game. This is really, really cool. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Ooh, left or right? Screens for the development of the boss's office. Office clock. So what am I... This is very weird. What? Thought I heard somebody talk.
Now then, this elevator for sure will get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story. When Stanley came to the lift, he traveled upward to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice.
So, how do I get out of here? Go up.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Okay. Stanley Parable on. Off.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
I'm not turning the PlayStation off.
Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Game, you trying to mess with my mind. Gonna make me turn the PlayStation off. You crazy. So if I'm correct, I should reload at the start in his office, and it's gonna loop again like Groundhog Day. As long as I make the right choices, it will keep going forward. But if I pick the wrong choice, yep. So this is basically Groundhog Day in game form.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So I have to go up here, and he's going to tell me to take the left door. If I don't take the left door, I die. So
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm going to enter the office.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Wonder if anything's different on these. I don't think nothing's changed in here. Okay. Oh, they made it where I couldn't go in the broom closet no more. The narrator got mad. I kept going into the broom closet. That's kind of funny.
Coming
Now,
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
if I go down, that leads to reset. So let's go up to the boss's office. This huge office. See, last time I went this way. What's over here? Executive bathroom. Oh, okay, that scared me. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Okay. Can't see my reflection, can't see my feet. Extreme bathrooms, okay. Anything else written that I need to see? No. Alright. What's in this? Elevator. Haven't done this before. Probably should have went up. Okay. Is it me or is the color changing a little bit? Seems like it's fading. What? I didn't go nowhere? Okay, there's the boss.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 28. Of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. Now this last time, instead of going to the, this time. Okay. Yep, so far it's all the
Stanley
same.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You really want me to go through there, but I don't went through there. That kills me, so I gotta go through here. This is creepy.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Okay. Camera?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers.